Welcome back to Wish Fulfill, where travel wishes come true. Today we're going to talk about one word that quietly steals more travel dreams than money ever could. That word is someday. It sounds harmless, responsible, practical, but someday is the most comfortable lie that we tell ourselves. And today we're going to unpack why. So someday feels safe because it doesn't require an action. It lets us keep dreaming, avoid risk, protect our routines. When we say, I'll go someday, we get to enjoy that fantasy without facing the logistics. But here's what really happens. Someday has no date, no plan, no deadline. And without those, it quietly becomes never. We don't cancel our travel dreams. We just keep postponing them until they fade into the background of responsibility. So why do we delay? Most people think they delay travel because of money. But if we were honest, it usually is deeper than that. We delay because we're afraid of change. We're afraid of stepping outside of our identity. We're afraid we'll fail at planning. We're afraid of what it means to us to actually want more. Travel represents expansion, and expansion feels uncomfortable when we're used to staying contained. So instead of saying, I'm scared, we say, someday. It sounds better. It feels smarter, but it keeps us small. So what's the cost of waiting? Let's talk about something we don't like to admit. Waiting truly has a cost. Not financially, but emotionally. Every time you delay something that matters to you, you teach yourself, this isn't important enough. Over time, that message builds, and the wish doesn't disappear. It just turns into quiet regret, like we talked about last week. You don't regret the trips you took. You regret the ones that you talked yourself out of. So instead of asking, can I afford to go someday? Ask, what would it take to go sooner than I think? That question shifts your brain from fantasy to strategy. Because travel doesn't require perfection. It requires a timeline, a destination, a first step. You don't need to plan the whole future. You need to choose one moment and commit to it. Here's something simple that you can do this week. First of all, pick a season. Spring, fall, next summer. Second, pick a place. Not your dream trip, just one that excites you. Circle that date is number 3, even if it moves later. Once it's on paper, it's no longer a someday. It becomes real. So let me talk about a personal shift moment that I had. A time that I said yes before I felt like I was ready. I will talk about where I am currently in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands. I will tell you, I wasn't ready for this big trip. I was scared. I don't think it was more than fear. I know now there's, some conflict going on over here. But I tell you, now that I'm here, I stepped out of the comfort zone. I will tell you that it has been a wonderful experience so far. And I've only been here for just about a day. I've learned how our country is different. I've learned how people can be very nice and very patient. I've learned that an environment can be very clean and environmentally sustainable more than what we are in the United States. It's amazing. When you visit a different country, you learn a lot more. A lot more that you think, why wouldn't our home country do stuff like this? Doesn't make sense. I've never been to a place that has been so inviting and jumped out of my comfort zone. I didn't have fear come into play once I got here. It put a stamp on my passport for the first time in my life. Never thought I would leave the United States, only to visit Canada. And that wasn't really that far from home. But if it wasn't for Mark, if it wasn't for being a travel agent, I probably would have never left the country to learn what other people do here. There's brick walkways. The streets are clean. There's brick roads. There's no potholes, no cracks. Safe environments, friendly people. The food even tastes different. A lot different. And more enjoyable. We sat in McDonald's tonight. Our first experience of sitting in a McDonald's in a different country. And I will tell you, the food tasted so much different, more pure. And just watching the environment and looking around, nobody was on their phone. Everybody was talking. You didn't see a lot of sick people or children. Very happy people, very safe environment. Had little children walk up to us and I waved hi. I don't know if they understood English or not, because most of the people here speak Dutch, but they do, a secondary language is English. Mark and I walked the street and saw that there was buildings that had names on them that were from different, couldn't tell what they were because everything was named in Dutch, so we were guessing. Kind of gave us a different realm of life, not knowing the unknown, but it was neat. And the only thing that we could really relate to was hotels and McDonald's. So take that moment, make it a reality. Let us help you. Us as a travel agency or any travel agent that you work through, can book up to 2 years in advance. You can pay for it over time without interest. And the only thing that we can't book unless we put it in a package is the airfare, and that we can book 9 months in advance. And that's when the airfare is the cheapest, or most reasonable, I should say, as it goes up as the plane fills, which I don't understand either, but I'm assuming it has to do with the weight and how much fuel they go through. So that's why the price goes up instead of down. But step out of your comfort zone. Make that wish a reality. Circle that date. Figure out what season. We just went through a epidemic a couple of years ago. A pandemic I've been through too. And now I'm having hurdles to overcome also with my health. Don't wait. Make it a plan. I'm here to help. I'm helping a family right now overcome hurdles because they have a young woman that has health issues, and I'm helping them overcome those hurdles. I also talk about on a Monday podcast or Zoom, about how accessible autism and special needs travel can still happen. You just have to find that person that has that special touch, like myself, so that you can overcome every hurdle to make a travel happen for your family or for yourself. Don't wait until there's not a tomorrow. Plan it. Put it to reality. Make it happen. And if you need help, reach out to someone. Reach out to a travel agent that can give you assistance. Don't wait. It's important that you go. In the couple episodes ago, I talked about how my husband and I only wanted to make money. We didn't put travel as a priority. And then it got to be that last few months together, and it was inevitable. We just had to do it. Money is not an obstacle. If you plan, you can do it. Don't wait to that last minute. And if you have hurdles to overcome, like I said, reach out to someone like myself that can help. Don't wait for it to be considered a permission slip to go. Someday will always feel safe, but fulfilled feels better. Remember that. Someday always feels safe, but fulfilled feels better. If you've been waiting for that perfect moment, consider this your permission slip. Not to travel recklessly, not to ignore responsibility, but to stop postponing what matters to you. Because here on Wish Fulfilled, someday becomes scheduled, and scheduled becomes experienced. Don't regret the trips you took, regret the ones you postponed. Travel doesn't require perfection. It requires a decision. Someday has no date, and that's why it rarely arrives. And waiting feels responsible until it turns into regret. So, again, remember, because here on Wish Fulfilled, someday becomes scheduled, and schedule becomes experienced. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Please continue to visit us and share our message. And remember, a wish, will come true and fulfilled.